you want to know something that's happened to me recently? I'm not going to say his name because I don't want him to get in trouble. But like, where was I? Oh, I was coming back from when I met Michael and Tim in Traverse, Michigan when we were hanging out with Eric Thomas. So I'm way back. I hop on a flight. All right. It was my connecting flight. No, it was my first flight. I'll get this right. I promise you I will. Sorry, guys, hang with me. You know I'm not very smart. So I get on the plane in Traverse, and my connecting flight was Charlotte. And like, I'm sorry, like every time you connect at night in Charlotte, you are fucked.
Yeah.
Like, so, but I roll up to my seat, and it's like right against like the front part, and it's like where the bathroom is, and like, so I couldn't do this. But there was this gentleman sitting there on the end, and you know, he gets up, you know, and he's got a, you know, like a sweatshirt on, had some slick back hair, you know, cool little goatee. I'm like, this is a fucking badass. I like this guy. But he got out, was super kind. And, you know, we didn't have anybody in the middle of us. And we were able to have this amazing conversation, just getting to know each other. I'm thinking, this motherfucker's an air marshal. Like straight out. And I said to him, I looked at him, I go, you take the first shift, I'll take the second shift. And he goes, why are you quoting Bridesmaids? I'm like, you know why I'm quoting Bridesmaids. He goes, dude, I'm not. He goes, no. I go, okay. Sure, buddy. I know how this goes. So we just start having great conversation. You know, he asked me what I do, and I told him about all this. And he's like, whoa, this is fascinating. Can you show me your page? So I show him my Instagram. He goes, can I follow it? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And he goes, hey, do you mind? I go, dude, I'm gonna follow you back. Don't worry. And so I followed him back, and we started like having this friendly conversation, talking about our families. I'm like, so man, what do you do? And I just, he's like, yeah. Well, you know, I'm in Department of Defense. I'm like, no shit, you are. I'm like, of course you are. And he starts laughing. He's like, no, that's not what I do. But I do gun trainings for organizations and things like that. I'm like, so you're the Department of Defense and you do gun trainings for like corporations, but you're not an air marshal.
Yeah.
He goes, correct. I'm like, cool, man. And we just had this great conversation. And before we get off the plane, he gives me his card. He's like, hey, just give me a call sometime, man. You got my cell number in your phone already, but here are my other numbers. If you ever have any questions, give me a call. He's like, it's a little bit more involved than what I told you. And I didn't even think to look at it yet. I'm like, all right, man, I'll be in touch, because I was late for my next flight because we sat on the tarmac for an hour and a half. So long story short, I get back to the hotel room that was comped because Americans screwed it up. They have enough people working so we could get off the plane. I looked at the card, Senior Air Marshal. I texted him, I'm like, you motherfucker, I knew it. He's like, oh yeah, you're a regular FBI agent. To this day, me and this gentleman speak every day via text. Absolutely adore him and his family. And yeah, so.
That's so cool. I mean, that's a really cool story. You're like, but you know, you could have played along with me then.
Yeah.
We could have run with it.
And so I said like, hey dude, did you know that I knew? He's like, yeah, I knew that you knew. Yeah. He's like, but I can't tell you. Like, I can't tell you.
Especially while he's there, like doing the work.
Right. And I said, how many times have I been on a flight with an air marshal and just not known? He goes, probably never. Because it's very rare that you're actually on a flight.
Wow.
Right? The percentages, right? All the flights in the world, and all the people taking them, you know? But he texts me, picture everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes, like, oh, I'm in Germany, and the next day he's in Maui. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? But that's not what the show's about, right?
Still sounds like...
Shout out to my guy. It's pretty cool.
But I mean, if I ever need an air marshal...
I got a guy.
I got a guy. No, I know who to call.
Well, listen, when I make it big, he's going to be my security.
There you go.
I already told him that. He's like, I'm hiring you.
Exactly.
Keep me safe.
Oh,
well, you know, I don't need bodyguard yet. You might. I know you do.
Every once
in a while. We'll get to that.
Might here in Norfolk. We don't know.
Oh, shit. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
I was thinking I've done some pretty salacious stories here, and I was like, you know, come to think of it.
You might be on the hit list here.
Some of my worst stories are actually here. So I was like, oh, I should have probably better prepared for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like a disguise or something.
Yeah, well, no, because the thing is that when I do the travel, like, so that's kind of where you get into the issue with the work I do, is that also with speaking engagements or events, I have to market them.
Yeah, I know.
And so if people know where I'm going to be, I can't even, you know, sneak in and sneak out because they know, and they can just buy a ticket to the event and show up. So.
Yeah. Shit. Remind me not to stand next to you at all tomorrow. So listen, okay.
Well, so I was actually going to ask you to stay right there. And
well, hey, listen.
I need protection.
So we're already on it, right? Let's hit it. So you talk about the work you do. What's to the audience the type of work that you're talking about that is leading to this conversation?
Okay. So I am a social justice warrior, is what I define it as, and really a DD 214 social justice warrior. And so I served in the Navy for 8 years active duty. After I got out, I have my career and I have my book, but then I got moved very quickly into advocacy, but also a little bit of activism. I elevate stories of injustices that are happening in the military, and I'll do it for other organizations as well, like colleges, something like that, but more so with the military. Typically, sex crimes, violence in the military, any type of like suicides, like suspicious suicides. So we had a case a couple years ago. It was actually about 2 years ago. A soldier in Germany, and she was in security forces. Her name was Denisha Montgomery, and she had been attacked. They were security forces, so like military police, and she had been attacked by a few members of her unit coming back from a water park. They were on Liberty, and they were at a water park, and she got attacked in the car, and it's actually recorded of her being attacked. And she got home, and she was bruised up. She had some marks in her as if she had been kind of stabbed by something. And she told her parents, I'm afraid for my life. I'm afraid for my safety. And then a few weeks later, she was packing. She had posted a video of her bag in the corner. She was going to be able to go home. And next thing you know, she was found dead in her barracks room. And the Army told her parents that it was suicide. As her parents started digging a little bit deeper, some of the details surrounding her death didn't really add up to suicide. First off, the first thing they said was that it was suicide by suffocation. How do you suffocate yourself?
I mean, she's not a toddler.
Exactly. And so her parents were like, that doesn't, really make sense. That doesn't add up. And then they said that she hung herself from her locker. And so her sister, who's also in the service, showed an example of what it would look like and was like, there's no way you can hang yourself from your locker. It's not high enough. Coincidentally, the cameras had been turned off right before it happened. Her roommate was one of the people who had attacked her in the car, and so there was some suspicious. She had been gone, but there was some concerns that maybe she allowed access to the room while she was gone. There were some bruises inside of her legs. So spent several months raising awareness for her, trying to really elevate the story so that they can't shove it under the rug. Because what happens a lot in the military, and this was more common, especially before December 23rd or December of 2023, where commanders had the authority to make a case go away, to say that we don't see any validity to this. We're not going to send them to court-martial.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I elevate the stories, is so that you can't shove it under the rug. You can't hide it. Everybody knows about it, and you have to take action on it, because there's just a lot of injustice that happens in our. You join the military so that you can serve, and you know the risk, but the last thing you expect is that the risk is going to be the people that are serving to the right and left of you. Those are going to be the people who are sexually assaulting you, or those are the people who are going to be, raping children, right? You don't want to serve next to somebody who's doing that, or those are going to be the people who are committing violence against you. You shouldn't have to worry about that within your own unit. And so that's what I work to push out as a military.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, like, that's just sad.
It's really
sad. And like, as a civilian, I've never been, a service member, but when as a civilian, you look at the United States military and you look at the overall mission is to serve and protect.